Why are some people calling Karl-Anthony Towns' 62-point performance the saddest 62-point game ever? So Monday, January 22nd, we would get two big-time performances from two of the best bigs in the game, in Karl-Anthony Towns and Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid would score 70 points, grab 18 rebounds, and dish out 5 assists, dismantling anything in front of him as he propelled his team to victory against the Wembanyama-led Spurs. Meanwhile, Karl-Anthony Towns would go on to score 62 points while hitting 10 of 15 threes, while his team would go on to lose to the freaking Charlotte Hornets. Coming into this game, the Hornets were 9-31. This squad hadn't even hit double digits in the win column yet, but somehow they were still able to beat one of the best teams in the Western Conference, the Minnesota Timberwolves, on the back of Brandon Miller. This would cause Minnesota Timberwolves head coach Chris Finch to lose it. But first, today's content is sponsored by BetterHelp. So the year has just begun and I want to make this one my best one yet. But if I'm going to do that, then I'm going to need my mind to be right. When my mind is right, accomplishing entire goals feels so easy. When it's not, even doing the simplest of tasks can feel like a drag. If your mind isn't right, but you want it to be, then consider BetterHelp, because a little therapy could go a long way. With BetterHelp, you can have therapy sessions in different ways, such as a phone call, a video call, or even messaging. BetterHelp is all about making your therapy sessions as comfortable as possible. BetterHelp can match you with one of the 30,000 therapists in their network based on your needs, preferences, and location, which gives you access to a wider range of expertise than may be available in your city. Join over 4 million people who have used BetterHelp to start living a healthier, happier life. Guys, just click the link in the description or enter betterhelp.com/GetLikeCoop into your web browser. Clicking that link not only supports this channel, but it also gets you 10% off of your first month of BetterHelp so that you could connect with a therapist and see if BetterHelp helps you. Guys, I want to give a huge shout out to BetterHelp for coming through and sponsoring today's content. I don't think that I've ever seen anything like what happened in Minnesota on Monday night. How often is it that you see a team star set a new franchise record and then go on to get benched with the game on the line? That is what happened in Minnesota on Monday night. Karl-Anthony Towns had 44 points in the first half, absolutely torching the Charlotte Hornets. But then he would go on to get benched down the stretch with about a minute left as the Timberwolves were fighting for the game. So he would re-enter the game with a little under 12 seconds left in the game in the balance for the Minnesota Timberwolves. And of course, who did the Timberwolves go to down 126-125? That's right, Karl-Anthony Towns, the guy who had been going off all night. Though this play would get recorded as a block for Leaky Black and eventually win the Charlotte Hornets the game, the NBA's 2-minute report would indicate that there were in fact multiple fouls that occurred on this play. Nonetheless, Chris Finch would air out his frustration with his team's play at the post-game press conference, and let me say this, he did not hold back.
Obviously, we're going to try to feed a hot hand, look for a hot hand, but at some point, we got to get back to making the right play. We got to get back to doing the right things. You know, that's just, like I said, there's a lot of ways to be immature. There's always a lot of ways to be immature, and there was a lot of immature performances here throughout the roster. We totally disrespected the game, ourselves, and we got exactly what we deserve. So,
Chris, did you also see? I mean, did it turn into Karl trying to hunt like a big number?
Yeah, I mean it was. I mean, but for a while, I mean, it was going, but you know, down the stretch, you got kind of dried up for us. But yeah. So.
While I thought that Finch was being a savage with this post-game approach, at the same time, this man told no lies, and even Anthony Edwards will tell you that, admitting himself that this team wasn't focused and immature, while also saying that he thinks that everybody was just trying to see Cat get 100. Mind you that Anthony Edwards only had 11 shots this game, as my man was locked into the show also. To make this whole thing funnier, once the team had learned that Embiid had 59 points through 3 quarters, Timberwolves players started asking for updates on where Embiid finished just so that they could help Towns surpass it. I am not even mad. Those are some good teammates. Now, what's even funnier is that I watched that entire 76ers game on Monday because I have Trey Jones and Devin Vassell in fantasy. And let me tell you this, everybody wanted to see Embiid score as many points as possible also. At one point, the crowd flat out booed Daniel House for just attempting to score. But the big difference between Cat and Embiid is that Embiid is a superstar who can effortlessly shoot over double teams, draw contact, or even make the right pass when needed. In fact, Embiid's passing this season has only helped to open things up more for him. Stopping Embiid this season hasn't been as easy as just double teaming him. If it was, the reigning MVP wouldn't be averaging 36.1 points, 11.6 rebounds, and 5.9 assists on the season. You know what? We really need to make an Embiid video soon because what this guy has been doing this season is just silly. After the game, Embiid would say that he said this during the game: "Please don't force it. Let's just play basketball. If I'm open, pass it. If I'm not, just make sure you make the right play. We were just trying to play the right way and make the right plays. But I think obviously I made shots and they found me a lot." Even though the 76ers were forcing this man the ball, this man is used to it. This is Joel Embiid that we're talking about here. Now, I completely understand both sides of this situation. If I am a coach, of course I'm going to get frustrated that my team, who has struggled with basketball IQ in critical moments in the past, played no defense and choked this game away in an attempt to stat pad. I mean, it's not like this team is in an incredibly tight race for the 1 seed or anything. This isn't even the first time that we've seen something semi-similar to this happen for this squad. Back in 2022, Ant won at 50 against the Spurs, and this man wasn't taking no for an answer. Now, at the same time, if I'm a player and I'm on a burner, of course I am going to want the ball. But naturally, there are better ways to go about everything. At the end of the day, the Timberwolves are a young team having a great season who made a dumb but humbling mistake. And Finch is a head coach who is tired of seeing his team play selfishly to their own detriment. As long as something like this doesn't spiral and cause unrest in the locker room, then this team should be good. The thing is, you never know what's going to be a team's breaking point with a coach. Chris Finch hasn't exactly held back whenever he talks about his squad. Now, while this team has undoubtedly needed tough love, Adrian Griffin did just get fired because the Bucks lost faith in him and stopped responding to callouts, which a video on this situation will be coming to the channel soon. So be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss it. What's so mind-boggling about this Timberwolves team is that they've been so good this season, and yet they should be even better than they are. When it comes to Anthony Edwards and this incredibly deep team, the sky is really the limit. There is no reason that the Timberwolves shouldn't make a deep run this postseason, which if they didn't, could that potentially lead to Karl-Anthony Towns getting moved, which the great play of Naz Reid has already caused a ton of speculation about the Timberwolves potentially moving on from Cat. If the Timberwolves were ever to move on from Cat, do you think that it would be the right move? Is this something that you could even see happening? So to get back to the present, as things stand for the Timberwolves, I definitely think that they could benefit from adding a few more vets to the roster, which shout out to that Mike Conley trade, because that trade definitely ended up being way better than I thought it would. Guys, let me know what you think about this team and their needs down in the comments below. Clicking the video on the screen right now is a great way to support my channel. I'm GetLikeCoop, bringing you guys the scoop until our next upload.